What's going on, team? Proof here. Welcome to another deck showcase. And the deck that I chose to do for you today is Mono Water. And somebody asked me to do Mono Water, and then since the new set is coming out, it kind of inspired me to want to do a deck for all of the top performing meta decks, or do a deck showcase for all the top performing meta decks, one of which is Mono Water. It's not quite top tier, but it's like in that high tier 2. I think it's probably the strongest tier 2 deck coming out of set 1. But over the next few videos, because we got an info dump this morning through the Duel Masters Play stream, that the next set is coming out next Thursday Japan time. So I think it's gonna be like probably late Wednesday or late into Thursday for us to get it, because they have maintenance going on. But with the next set coming up, I wanted to do a deck showcase for the top performing decks like I talked about. And since somebody asked me to do Mono Water, I'll go ahead and start off with Mono Water. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna talk about the deck as is, and then kind of talk about where you can make changes to it to make it a little more budget friendly, because this is pretty demanding on your crafting points. So to start off, we got 4 Aqua Guard. Aqua Guard is like a very staple evolution bait for liquid people, which is what the deck is based on, Mono Water liquid people. So easy 1 mana blocker. You can drop it down on turn 1 if you know you're going against an aggressive deck, or its more common use is to help weave into your mana curve if you have like 1 mana to use, or you can do a quick evo by playing Aqua Guard and then putting the evolution right on top of it in the same turn, which you might see in this video. But very staple bait, can stop an attack against aggressive decks if you need to stem the bleeding a little bit, and is all in all a great card. Then we have 2 Hunterfish, easy blocker, costs 2 mana, so it's easy to weave into your mana curve. Its main purpose is to help you against aggressive decks because it's a 2 mana blocker, so it's faster against the aggressive decks. Another option that you're gonna see excluded from this is Angler Cluster. Angler Cluster started off in the deck because it has benefits for being played in Mono Water, but as time went on, the aggressive decks were too fast for it, so it became not useful to play it on turn 3, and then the control decks would ignore it, so it didn't matter. And then other decks that wanted to play bigger creatures had creatures that are too big for cluster to matter. So Hunterfish became like the go-to option for other blocker to use in the deck. Then we have 4 Aqua Vehicle. It's an easy liquid people to you, liquid person, I guess. It's 2 mana, so you can play it down early and be aggressive with it. 4 Spiral Slider, we talked about that in the previous video. Similar function here is to help get threats out the way temporarily, and being a shield trigger, you can get something off the board before it can attack you if it comes off the shields. We have 3 Aqua Jolter, which is just a shield trigger liquid person. Helps you against aggressive decks just to help keep that tempo going for you, and it could turn into one of the evolution creatures in a pinch. 4 Aqua Hocus, staple, play it, draw a card, and usable evolution bait for liquid people. 3 Peckleton, just same function as Aqua Hocus outside of being a liquid person, because this isn't one. You can play it, draw your card, and it's a decent body to help you attack into your opponent. Then we have 3 Unicorn Fish. Same function as in the previous video. Play it down, help you get a creature on the board while bouncing one of your opponent's creatures, which is good for tempo, which is what this deck is all about. Then we have 2 Crystal Paladin. Crystal Paladin is one of the evolution creatures for liquid people. When it comes into play, you can, or mandatorily, you return all bouncers to their owners, or all blockers to their owner's hand. So very nice for us to, if we have like a wide board, we can play Crystal Paladin here, bounce all blockers, and then start attacking with our wide board, which is what it's used for. Then we have 2 Streaming Visions. Streaming Vision says reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, put all water cards into your hand, and the rest go to the graveyard. So since our deck is all water, it's just a 4 mana draw 3 cards that our opponent will know about, which honestly isn't a bad thing because they're gonna have to deal with them anyway. So it's better to get the cards in hand, and it's good against control decks because it helps us just keep resources going while they try to discard us. Then we have 4 Aqua Surfer. this is one of the big cards that make the deck workable because it helps you against aggressive decks as a 1-2 punch, being able to be a shield trigger. And when it comes down, you can bounce one of your opponent's creatures to their hand. And it, unlike Unicorn Fish, it doesn't have the mana restriction. So just plop it down off of shields, bounce them back to their hand, and then if your opponent's creature is within 2000 power range, you can attack into it, or you can start breaking shields because we want to be able to get our opponent's shields down low quickly with this deck. And then the most important card of the deck, we have Crystal Lancer, which 6 mana, double breaker evolution creature for liquid people, and it can't be blocked. So just put it down on one of your many liquid people that you have and start going to your opponent's face with it, which is what it's used for. So that's the deck. As oh yeah, if you want to make this deck a little less expensive, because the current DM points value is 14,300, which is a lot, you can take out the Crystal Paladins here and put in something like Peckleton or more Unicorn Fish or another Aqua Jolter. This deck, if you don't have 4 Aqua Surfer and 4 Crystal Lancer, I would advise not trying to make this deck and look into something else, because these are the 2 most important cards of the deck in my opinion. They make the deck function, and Streaming Visions here. So try to get yourself at least 2 of these and then the full set of these 2 before you can think about going into this deck. But if you try to make it less expensive, the easiest cut is Crystal Paladin, because it's a super rare, so it has the highest DM point value to craft it. So you cut those out and then find space for something else, and preferably like Unicorn Fish and Peckleton or something like that. So that'll do it for the deck. Try to get 3 games in. Hopefully it helps showcase the deck well. The deck kind of suffers against more aggressive decks if we can't get shield triggers or we can't get our blockers early, but it does do well against the more aggressive decks, or I'm sorry, the more controlled decks. It does suffer against ramp decks as well, which is probably why, or that's why I consider it a high tier 2 deck, because rush decks and ramp decks are one of the 3 prongs of the, or 2 of the 3 prongs of the current meta. But we're gonna hop into it. All right, we're going second. Let's see what we got. Okay, wow. If our opponent's playing control, they're going to be in some trouble potentially. So we got 2 visions, we got 2 vehicles. They're playing rush, so that's bad for us unless we hit Aqua Surfer. But since it's 6 mana, we don't want to keep it in our hand. Unfortunately, against rush, these 2 might not be as useful. Oh, that's confusing. Not exactly sure what our opponent's playing anymore. Excuse me. So I'm gonna toss one of these. And since vehicle can't trade into Baronvorg, I'm playing the Hunter Fish. Granted, it could get hit by Comet Missile, but at least it's out of our opponent's hand. So that's a Lancer. I'll toss the first one. It's looking like I'm gonna go this turn. Depending on what our opponent does, then we might play Crystal Paladin and start being aggressive with it because it's bigger than what they have. This probably won't be played, but I'm more likely to play this before I play Lancer, the first Lancer. So put that into mana. Like our opponent could be playing their own Crystal Paladin, which meant that this can trade into it. Plus, of course, we get shield trigger off of it, like the shield trigger bounce effect. Our opponent could just be playing something budgetary in nature. There's the Comet Missile. And there's the Aqua Surfer. Return that. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna evolve Crystal. Oh, never mind, we win. Our opponent has had enough. Count that in the check column. What I was gonna do on my next turn was I was gonna play mana, evolve Aqua Vehicle into Crystal Paladin, and then I was gonna use Crystal Paladin to attack into their tap down creature, and then use Aqua Surfer to break a shield. And by that time, we probably would have had good tempo to see what we do from there. On to the next one. All right, we're going first. That's good. I'll explain next game how I can tell who's going first or second, but it's based off the symbols that's on your avatar picture. All right, this is a pretty good hand. I also know what I don't know what I want to play as mana. All right, so turn one, I'm going in blind against my opponent, so I might put this down. So it might be turn one this, turn two this, turn three hopefully Aqua Hulkus, turn four this maybe. So I'll put that into mana. Turn four, one of these two. I'll make that determination on turn three. So whatever I draw is probably going to be put into mana directly. All right, so our opponent's playing control. That's good to know. So I probably won't need you. Hopefully I draw into an Aqua Hulkus next turn. That'd be the best card to get. All right, so our opponent's playing, at the very least we know two of their colors. This is, I think I've tried something like this before. The question is if they're playing Rumblegate. I don't know if they're playing Darkness because there's a couple different versions out there. But Snip can't attack if my board is bigger than theirs. So it encourages me to play more creatures. I just don't want to play this, or like put this to mana, play this, and then my opponent discards my Crystal Paladin, which is what they could do. So if I put this to mana and do nothing, if they do play discard, it keeps these two available as a turn 4 play. Decisions. Against control, I kind of want to take, because they also could be playing Burst Shot, which would just nuke my entire board. We don't want that. So I'm going to line up, be ready for a flexible turn 4 play. So play mana, do nothing. It's close. I don't know if they're playing Darkness or not at this stage of the game. Okay. Keep making my board wide. I wonder if that was a holy eye that they were seeing if they could play. Usually turn 4 means my opponent's gonna play a 4-mana blocker called Pakari, which draws them a card. Oh. Oh. Interesting. I expect them to hit this and take out my Aqua Vehicle. Interesting. Alright, we're gonna put this to mana, evolve into Paladin. And then play this as a blocker. If you did it the other way, you would have wasted a mana because Paladin returns all blockers regardless of who owns them. So I got a pretty good sized board going right now. My opponent definitely made a misplay there in my opinion, but it looks like they're playing Rock Beast, like double geyser. We'll see if it comes down. Oh, neat. Attack with that first. Just in case it, well, I could attack with this first in case he's playing Tornado Flame. He or she, my opponent. Ah, there's the Holy Eye. So if my opponent is playing Double Geyser, he can kill off my Paladin and kill one of my other creatures, but they wouldn't have had enough. So got that. My opponent would have been in a much better spot if they killed my blocker with Meteosaur, and then because Meteosaur destroys any creature with 2,000 power or less, or any of your opponent's creatures, and then they could have used Snip to attack into my tap down creature, and then I would have had one creature on the board versus their two, and I would have been in a more worse off spot. But in that game, I'm sure you kind of saw the value in Crystal Paladin being able to be a mid-game or mid-range attacker if you needed to be, because it's guaranteed to take out anything with 4,000 power or less, or 5,000 power or less, since it removes blockers out the way. But it's also really good for being able to bounce blockers in a pinch if you needed to, because I had the backup lined up if they played enough blockers to try to survive my following turn. So we're going second. I was too busy chit-chatting, forgot to point out the differences between the symbols. Okay, pretty good hand. All right, I don't think I'm gonna need this with my opponent playing Proclamation of Death as their first mana. Get that on the board as backup, because then I can play this next turn, and then it gives me some little bit of protection against Proclamation of Death, that is. I've never seen Crystal Paladin show up this much as a 2-of in like my entire DMP playing time. Even if I had 4 of them, because I own 4, but even if I had 4 of them, like, they would never show up like this. It's crazy. He's trying to show off for the camera. That's all it is. You see the light shining and the being on YouTube. He just wants to be out here for the people, which I can respect. I can respect that. See the shiny one, the SVR, or not SVR, the SSR showing up. Uh-oh. I'm kind of tentative on attacking because I could run into a shield trigger, but they already did have one Aqua Surfer go down. It also looks like they're just a regular water darkness deck, which means I don't have to worry about Bomedeus at the end of the day, which would be something that would deter me from attacking right now. My favorite soundtrack. Where's Shaper at? Or Visions? There it is. But to play Visions, I have to give up my Paladin. So that kind of sucks. This looking like it's gonna be a Crystal Lancer game. All right, that's fine. I need the cards in my hand. That's decent. What's my next turn gonna look like? this to mana, play that most likely. We'll see what my opponent has. There's Picari. I got fish. Hopefully I draw into Crystal Lancer. There the boy. Now, on one hand, if my opponent doesn't play another blocker, I can play Surfer here and get rid of that and have two creatures that can swing. What the? You don't see Grand Gur very often. Let's see. I don't need to go to 6 mana right now. Make my board wider. Actually, I could have went to 6 mana and played the Aqua Surfer and then waited until I drew into Spiral Slider to play them both at the same time. So, slight misplay there. I can also try to charge up until I get a second Crystal Lancer into my hand, deploy the first one, and break shields. Because assuming they do play Grand Gur, whenever this first Crystal Lancer probably isn't gonna live through one attack. Jolter. All right, we'll do this. I can do the same thing, or I can evolve Aqua Guard into it. I said this is only my first Lancer. Yeah. I just suspect my opponent has removal or Holy Eye. So at least this way I'll keep my board wider. Maybe I was wrong. I'll try to make a read on what my opponent had. Do they have a second one? Ah, they had Terra Pit. The early Paladin is not looking too hot right now. This way I'd likely take up their whole turn. They didn't play the blocker, then I would just bounce this guy, went ham. Top deck Visions? Nope. Now we're pretty much in a Crystal Lancer waiting room. Unless they Holy Eye us. I have no idea what my opponent's deck is. It feels kind of mishmashy. I wonder if it would have been better to evolve Lancer on something else. Because if he had Terra Pit, he would have used Terra Pit on... they would have been the same end result. He would have used Terra Pit on the Aqua Guard, killed the Lancer. So I would have lost the Lancer, which had Evolution Bait underneath it. I think it would have ended up being the same. I have no idea what my opponent could have in their hand. I never run into this particular combination of cards in this civilization before. Typically when you see 4 colors, like these 4 colors together, it's usually a Bohemia's control deck, which is probably what my opponent has, but they probably supplement it with stuff that they didn't have from the meta list. Like you normally don't see Spiral Slider and Unicorn Fish. Oh, neat. I think we lost this one. Alright, what can we do? Alright, we got 7 mana to work with. So that's 1, 3, or 1, 4, 6. We'll start with that. Huh, that's interesting. Next turn I can go Surfer, Slider, or Unicorn Fish, Slider, Vehicle. So that's probably a Holy Eye. I'll take the freebie. It's gonna die, but I'll take the free one. Since they offered it up. Another Surfer. I'm holding the Aqua Vehicle at this point because it becomes an instant evolution. So I can go Unicorn Fish. Do I want to bounce? Maybe. But I also want to play the Hunter Fish. So put that to mana. Play this. Get that out there. What's that, Pyro? Focus. So are you gonna skip on playing Grand Grid this turn? Couldn't be. All right. So, in a world where they didn't put Holy Eye in the shields, I could win this turn. Because I evolved this, bounce that. This breaks to, no, I can't win. I'll be 1 attacker short. So we will evolve that dude. And then return that. Like if it hits Holy Eye, I have an outside chance of losing, but this protects my Lancer. I'm gonna hit the set shield, get that out the way. I'm gonna have to encounter it at some point in time. I expect it to be Holy Eye. Oh, Tornado Flame. Well, I put my faith into my shield triggers. I've seen 2 Spiral Sliders, 3 Aqua Surfers, but I got 12 cards left, so there's a chance one of these 2 could be a removal trigger. The only way of winning is through like evolution. Maybe they have their own Crystal Lancer, or they go into Pyro Fighter and try to break my 2 remaining shields without running into a trigger. If they have Lancer plus Pyro, then we lose. Unless both of the shields happen to be removal triggers. If they haven't, do they play Diamond Cutter? Maybe. I don't know what, I know. So they're playing that, then they're gonna play the Pyro. Then they're gonna see what happens. Nice. So if their last shield is Holy Eye, then we lose. Or do we now? So this will break that. So after I have to remove a blocker, that much is guaranteed. But if I remove a blocker and remove that, then if their last shield is Holy Eye, then this has to be Aqua Surfer. Well, whatever, we gotta do it anyway. So then in that case, it's better for me to remove a secondary blocker, because if this is a removal trigger, then I can't win. So hopefully it's not something like Burst Shot. All right, we win. Whew. That was close against an unorthodox deck. So considering we didn't have our best answer for our opponent's deck the entire game, that ended up, well, outside of Lancer, of course, seeing the early Paladins ended up paying off. Ended up not paying off because they got discarded or had to be mana'd. But that'll do it for the deck. I hope you enjoy. I want to do it, like I mentioned from the outset, I want to do it for the other top performing meta decks over the course of the next few videos before set 2 drops. So look out for those, and then look out for reveals, because we got a whole lot of info, a whole lot of cards to talk about. So look out for those coming up soon too. So that'll do it for me. And until the next one, peace. Be easy.
Listen.